Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. Today, in these 3 hours, we're going to do 2 separate different things. The first one is talking about need finding. That is the first item, topic that we're going to cover in the course. And it will be about, as the name say, finding needs from people so that we can understand which are the real problem and then be able to build a solution on top of them without starting with the assumption that we know the problems, we know what's best for everyone and proceed in that direction. So we want to investigate first which are the possible gaps, needs, issue that people have, and then build from that. And that is, just to contextualize a little bit, this is important also if you think in a future industry world. If you work in a startup, of course you would like to intercept some needs so that you can build a solution for that needs. So high market, high interest in the market. But also if you work for a more consolidated industry, understanding which are the problem and having tools to understand which are the problem with an existing software used by people will help you or the company to edit it, update it, and make your customer more happier and investing probably more money into your product. So it's also beneficial from this perspective as well. So we will dedicate the first hour on this, and then we will continue talking on this on Monday. And we will also do an exercise on this on Monday. So this is just part 1 of need finding. The second hour will instead be about the projects and the topics and giving you an idea which are the final results that you will build in the course using a couple of examples from the past years, so that you have a preview of what you will more or less do, starting from example from 2 and 3 years ago, so that you have different examples as well on different topics. But first, need finding. So, as always, let's start with, the Hall of Fame and always shame. But before that, let me ask, while people find a spot to sit down, do you have any experience with voice assistants like Google Home, Alexa, Amazon Echo, that is Alexa, or the physical thing at home? How many of you have experience with that? Okay, so good number. Do you have any issue, problem in using them? They're major issue, problem, not sometimes it doesn't understand me, or I don't know what to say, that's by design. But in general, do you have any major issue with them? Yes or no? No. Yes. Who say yes, why? Which are the major issues?
Even if you don't understand me, it doesn't do what I'm asking them.
What do you ask them?
I don't know, the lights.
And do you have the lights that are controllable?
Yeah, they are controllable, but it doesn't do that.
Okay, sometimes.
Most of the time.
Most of the times. It's time to push a button on the wall to turn on lights. But yeah, let's say most of the time, except lights, it works. Sort of. You're not enthusiastic, so why you have it to your home? Just unplug it. It's better for you. Okay, but let's say that for the others, no major issues, except maybe understanding or knowing what to say. But generally, if I give you one Google Home here or whatever, and ask you to ask, I don't know, the weather for tomorrow, or what's on television today, you will more or less be able to do it without issue, no? Or playing some music, some random music. like the best, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, more or less, no major problem. Good. Now let's have a look at this video. That is on voice assistant used by elderly people, elderly person. And if the volume is high, I don't have much control, but let's try to. So listen, but also look at what is going on here. This is the first time this person use a voice assistant, that's a Google Home, that's provided by her daughter, son, whatever, younger people that are not in the video, but you will listen to them. It's in English, so. And sorry, and this is an Italian grandmother, so she will also at a certain point speak a little bit Italian, but look what happens here.
What is raining today? Water.
Yeah.
Oh my God, answer!
What?
It said yeah.
You say yeah?
Yeah, it's her.
Oh my God. Is a woman?
Yeah.
I'm glad to meet
What
you.
is this thing?
Hello, Gugu.
Hey, you're okay.
There's something from the
Google.
Alphabets.
You have to say hey Google or okay.
Hey, Gugu. Okay, Gugu.
What's the
There you go.
weather?
Yeah.
What's the weather? Ask.
What the weather? You want to know what is the weather
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
In Flagler Beach tomorrow, there will be showers with a high of 65 and a low of 56.
With this, it's a mystery.
Watch it there.
I'm scared. I'm scared. It's a mystery. Oh my gosh. No.
Ask Google to play an Italian song.
Cuckoo. Hi, Cuckoo.
You have to say hey or okay.
Hey, okay.
Google.
Tomorrow in London, it'll be sunny with a high of 41 and a low of 30.
London from over there.
It's the temperature in London.
Mama, ask her to play your favorite song.
Play your favorite song.
Cuckoo. Cuckoo.
Yeah, you're cuckoo, all right.
Cuckoo. Play a song for me. Piemontesina bella.
You have to say.
Addio dei giorni passati. Addio.
So, okay, you don't have to tap it first, but to wake it up, you have to either say, hey, Google, or okay.
Hey, Gugu. Okay, Gugu.
Play an Italian song.
And then
Play
it'll
an Italian song.
so it has to light up after you say that, otherwise it didn't hear you correctly.
Yes.
Io no è un salame perché mia capisci cosa dici. I got it.
You're stupid, because I can understand everything I'm saying to you.
Hello, Gugu.
Hey or okay?
Okay,
Google.
do it.
Okay. Now, let me ask again the same question as before. Do you see any major problem in interacting with a conversational agent in this video? Yes. Which one? Or which multiple ones?
When she activated with the voice, some lights turn on, and the same light turns on also when she taps on it to, example, increase the volume. So she thinks that when she taps, it starts listening to her. So she starts talking, but instead
But it's not.
listening.
Yeah, because when you tap on this, it's lights on. That's to say I'm plugged in, but it's not accepting vocal command.
Probably they had to use different lights for.
That's solution. Let's focus on the problem first.
The way that she called the assistant, the way
Google.
the assistant is called, yes, exactly, is not easy to pronunciate for every people. Instead, that should be things that could be
That's
used.
solution. Let's stop the problem. The difficulty in and activating using the activation word. Something else.
I guess the device couldn't respond very well in her request.
Why?
Like she used the to inform the woman, okay, I'm here, maybe you can continue or ask me questions.
Anything else you can notice from the video? Well, problems or opportunities. Like if you imagine to redesign the Google Home, which things you can learn from this? Like a version of Google Home from a non-native speaker of the language of the Google Home, and maybe elderly that are not used to talking with a speaker.
Maybe adding a button on the...
Adding something to wake up instead of the word.
Just saying like a manual
or maybe adding another name like Google.
Change the activation word. Let's say generalize. Change the way to activate as a button or another word or clapping or whatever.
Change the recognizer of the language so the grandma can speak in Italian.
Yeah, support multiple languages at once.
Provide an audio feedback to tell the user that I'm listening to you. Like Siri has it.
Provide, that's also annoying, but about Siri. But yeah, provide some other way to give a feedback.
Request to talk.
That's a way to activate. That's the big generalized things before. How did she want to specify a song? By singing it. So not saying the title, because maybe you don't remember the title, but so this could be an opportunity, like instead of saying play a random Italian song or playing the title Italian song, say play the song that does like this. That of course it's more complex than just picking the title, but still we are just talking about interaction and opportunities. So why none of this is present on Google Home? Or any other like things like those. Like also Echo Home doesn't have, also Amazon Echo doesn't have, also the HomePod doesn't have these kind of features. For the population, maybe, but they sell it as a general purpose, no? They don't sell it for under 40 years old people, no? They'd say for everyone can use Google Home. So everyone should include also 80 years old, which is not on native language is English. So, theory, that's not good for them, in theory.
Simplicity of implementation.
Well, if you add the button, like we were saying before, it's not so hard, then maybe the language recognition of the song, that's a different story, but then, I'm sorry, that's also like artificial intelligence, so like, it's in the name of artificial intelligence. We should assume something. Anything else? Anything?
Cost
Well, cost to add a button, again, we are in the case before, no? You just add a button.
To improve the algorithm.
Well, for the algorithm, but like for the wake word, like a button we were saying before, that's not really costly, no? It's a piece of plastic. It's not that people at Google are not like competent, they don't know what they do, but yet they do this kind of mistake for, yes?
Can it be related to brand recognition?
Meaning?
So I will call it only Google because I want my product to be recognizable as brand.
Who knows? Maybe. Well, if you look at the Amazon Echo, you can choose a wake up word. You can say Alexa, computer, Echo, Amazon. Yeah, so that's not entirely true.
It's all Amazon related.
Well, computer is not, it's general. But yeah, but at least you have to choose. So if you cannot pronounce Google and say Google, maybe you are able to say Echo or Echo in Italian or Alexa or something similar to those to be recognized easier. But instead for the Google Home it's just Google. And also for Android I think it's just Google. You cannot have other wake up word. So this is not because like people at Google doesn't know what to do, because of course they know, But this is to make a point for you and for also the context of the lecture we're going to have. That is actually two things. One, at the beginning of the class, when I ask you, do you see any major problem with those things, the majority of you said no. But actually, some people have. So first, you have some assumption. We all have some assumption that we bring with us, including on how things work. And this assumption can be totally right or totally wrong. We don't know. And so let's assume that they are wrong. And let's discover if there is something to discover. Second, you have learned probably how to improve a product in 2 minutes just by observing a person, one single person using a single device. You didn't ask anything. You didn't waste much time because it was like 2 minutes in this case. And still, we have learned that maybe a button would be a good idea, that maybe another wake word, that some sophisticated way to interact, to recognize the song could be another option. And then, of course, this option has cost, has consequence, has implementation issues, has whatever, technical difficulties. But still, we have some new knowledge. So if you were paid by Google to improve the Google Home, you could provide a list of recommendations just by looking at a 2 minutes video. If you repeat it for 10 people, you probably have a much larger list with something that overlaps, something that is repeated among people, etc. So just by observing, you can understand which are the problems that some people, in this case one person, had. And this is a little bit the spirit of, let's say, Needfinding, in which we want, not again, we want to find problem, and also framing them. So, as engineer, for those of you that, the majority of you are engineer, we always listen to problem solving. We should have good problem-solving capability. That is actually true, is good, is important. But before problem-solving, another thing that is important, that is not evident or quite neglected, is actually problem framing. Let's frame a problem, and then once we understand which is the problem, let's solve it. So either someone give us the problem to solve, that's easy, or if we have no idea, we should first come up with understanding the problem and then solving it. And when it's an interactive system, this finding framing problem must start, if you want to have a successful, in whatever metric, interactive system, start from people. And then continue with technology, continue with design, continue with implementation, but start from people. So the goal of this lecture, of these 3 lectures that we will do, together with the exercise, is understanding these problems and deriving some needs out of the problem. And I will show you some tools and instruments to do this. And then we will also ask to apply some of these tools and instruments to do this in your project work. So all these lectures are connected with practical work that you will start next week. Just to remind you, we have seen this Monday, we are step 1, what is needed, that is Needfinding, and then we will move on from there. So let's start from needs. What are needs? I need a better microphone, or a microphone that works in some way. What are needs? Here there are 2 definitions. Human, emotional, or physical necessity. And the second definition is gaps in a system. So let's simplify in a software system. If you have a task, an activity on a website, on the Politecnico website, that should be done in like 3 seconds, 1 click, and you take 5 minutes and 100 clicks, that's probably a gap in the system. Because it was intended to be short and quick, and now it's long and painful. So that's probably a gap. And that gap is connected with not some physical necessity, because of course you don't physically do anything for clicking on a mouse, but probably you are frustrated, or you are in a rush, or there is some emotion connected. And the same emotional necessity also emerged from the video of Google Home, when, for instance, the person was scared at the beginning, because these things start talking and reply to the answer about the weather, and also when the person start like teaching the song, like maybe a grandmother would do with a children. I teach you the songs so that you can continue with that. So that's an emotional link. It's not a physical necessity. It's just an emotional link. So what are needs? Needs are also verbs, not nouns. Activities and desired with which users could use help with. Verbs. Nouns are solutions. I need a button. That's a solution. A button. When describing needs, often is helpful to use the phrase needs a way to, or needs to be able to, so that you can more easily add a verb after that to describe such needs. And needs emerge directly from things that happen, user traits, or from contradiction between two traits that happen. Such as a disconnect between what a person say, oh, it's so easy to do this, and what they do, they took 1 hour to do something that is so easy to do. So there is a disconnect there. So how we understand, how we discover needs. And let's make an example of a need. And especially we compare it to what the solution should be easier, but especially with wants. On Monday, some of you said that we would like to understand what people want, or something like that. And I said, no, we would like to understand what people need. That are different from what people want. And there is often a couple of examples, I will use one of them, especially to make the point that we don't need to ask people what they want, because people are like not reliable, like we know better. That actually I'm going to use it to prove the opposite, to explain you what is the difference with a need. So the story is this, and there are a couple of stories. One is the one that I'm going to tell you, and the other one is about Steve Jobs, but I prefer the first one. But the meaning is the same. So Henry Ford, do you know who is Henry Ford? Who was Henry Ford? Who was? You said yes, so who was?
It's the creator of, I think, the first engine.
Yes, but like Ford, like the car maker, like the car maker that still have. So Henry Ford was the owner of the Ford company and the creator of one of the first cars in the United States, like the Model T, etc. And when they come up with, so this is a story, we don't know if it's true or not, but it's often said this way. A journalist went to Henry Ford and say, did you ask people what they wanted before creating the car? And Henry Ford said no, because if would have asked, they would have told me, I want a faster horse. And it's often used as a way, well, you don't have to ask people, because of course, a faster horse is a car, it's different. But this is also something, we will discover methods, but it's also something that people can tell you. I want a faster horse. I want a faster computer. I want fewer clicks on a website. I want to understand movements better. I want whatever. And these are wants. And these are not wrong per se, but people, we all, can only speak about things we know. So if I only know a horse, because I never saw a car before, because they didn't exist, I can only refer to horses. I cannot speak about things that I don't know, that didn't exist, or that are strange, or out of my knowledge, like for the grandmother Google Home. She never saw it before. Maybe the other person in the video, they had it. So a faster horse is a solution, because it's not a verb, and it's also a want. I need a faster horse, I want a faster horse, it's a want. We want, instead, a need. So what is the need that is behind the faster horse that the car actually satisfies as well as a faster horse? Go faster is too close to the faster horse. Fast movement.
Less time to go somewhere.
Going somewhere from point A to point B faster with less time. That was the need. That was the need. Probably. And how the car satisfied this need? It's faster, and it's allowed to go from place A to place B in a faster, less time. It's not a horse, of course, but it satisfies the same need. Which are the other options to satisfy the same need? Which could have been the other option to satisfy those needs? Another mean of transportation, improving another mean of transportation, a bicycle with an engine, an electrical train back then.
Maybe more safer or spacious. You can go with the vehicle with 4 people.
That's not related to the need to the faster horse, right? Because the horse doesn't cost too many people as well, more or less like the car with the carriage. But what we can have instead of a faster horse? Well, we can have a faster horse. Like Henry Ford would say, well, let's bioengineer a faster horse. Why not? It's a little bit more complex, but that's also as a solution of the same need, bioengineering a faster horse. Change means of transportation. Redesign streets so that distances are shorter and there are highways that were not, so we reach place A and place B in a faster, fewer time, and less time. These are all possible solutions to the same need, going faster with less time from place A to place B. Okay? So the want, people would have probably said, I want a faster horse. And people will tell you, I want this, speaking their own language according to their own knowledge. Is then your duty to say, okay, let's not stop at the surface. Let's scratch the surface and see what could be below that. And going below there means understanding that I want to go faster from a place to another, and let's open not one single solution, bioengineering a horse so that it could be faster, or do some breeding between different kind of horses so that we can improve the velocity and the power and the strength and whatever, but let's create a car, or let's replan the city, or let's work on bicycle, or let's work on trains, or let's work on planes, or helicopters. These are all possible solutions from the need that emerge from a faster horse. Okay? And that is something that will similarly will happen to you. People will tell them what they want, and it's your job to ask questions, to understand the problem, to understand what's working, to understand the point of attrition, and then go deep with your mind and understand what's beyond the surface. Okay?
Maybe the car is possibly more expensive than a faster horse. So maybe the people can choose the faster horse because one faster horse is 1,000 and a faster car is a car is maybe free.
that's something that comes after. In this example, comes after because there were no car. So, of course, they were more expensive once they were, but if you ask before creating the car what they want, they cannot reply to you a car because they have no idea that what is a car, right? And then, of course, the cars back then were much more expensive than a horse. And with another set of, with a set of issues, cars and horses, and expenses to maintain both. But in that moment, they cannot say, I want an horse, a faster horse, and not talking about a car because they have no idea what it was a car because it was not existing, the car before. So they don't compare. But all these considerations are good in a later stage because one can consider why one is more expensive. Can we reduce the expense? Can we reduce the cost? That's a more engineering perspective or marketing or economics perspective. But also could be a way, okay, you can also imagine like this, okay, they prefer a horse to a car because it's less expensive. So the need is still moving faster from one place to another, and you can add and cheaper as a need, but still moving faster and cheaper from place A to place B, if that is something that emerge. So this is an example. This story is probably not not even real. We don't have an historical documentation, but it's often used. And you also, if you look on Google, you can find it on the web, this kind of story and similar stories. Okay, but this is just an example to move from something that people say they want to a need that it could be behind it. Okay, so what is need finding? Need finding is discover opportunities by recognizing that there are gaps, there are problems, there are issues. And this example is a nice example. It's not really 100% pertinent, but it's a nice example. What's going on in this picture? What is the gap in this picture? Yes, the people just go on the grass because it's probably the shortest path to go wherever they want to do instead of following the normal path. So need finding has also been looking at this and say, hey, maybe we can just do a shorter path in the middle as well. So need finding is figure out the story on what is going on here, why people didn't do this path, because it's longer, because actually they need to go over there and this is not going over there, so there is no way to go there from this position. So why and what I can do, what they can do. Well, they walk on the grass. This is, of course, a simple example. So need finding is about asking questions, observing people, doing their work, their activity, the things they would do anyway, with an eye of understanding which are the gaps, which are the problems, which are the issues, and why there are and what they are, and build a new story that is your solution in this context. So the main, of course, question is what do people need in a specific context? But this also brings with them a series of other questions, like who are people? Are we doing something general purpose for the entire world? 0 to 100 years old, every language? Or we need to start smaller? And what is smaller? Is university students? Is Italian university students? Is university student in engineering? Is university student at Politecnico? These are all different subsets of people. And then asking ourselves how they are doing whatever we are interested to now. How they are moving from home to here. Now, if we want to investigate about transportation of university student reaching university. How they are moving now. Cars, bikes, walking, public transport, train, whatever. And what they're doing while on this vehicle. What is the context in which they are doing it? Why they are doing it? Why I'm taking a car instead of a bicycle to come here, or walking? Because it could be a variety of reasons. Distance, I cannot go on a bicycle, I didn't have one, public transportation is too expensive, is not working, whatever is the reason. And the context, why I'm walking to Politecnico, because I live 1 minute of distance, so I don't really need to use a public transportation. But if I live in Mirafiori Sud, then maybe I cannot really walk up to here every single day, because it's not like short path to go. So I need something else. So the context is important as well. And can we just ask them, as the story of Henry Ford say? No, we cannot just ask them, tell me how you would improve your transportation to the university. Because again, people will say, well, I want cheaper public transport. I want a stopover the tram just below my house, because I'm comfort. Or I want free bikes. Or I want to live closer to university. Give me a new house. These are all solutions. If you just ask them, you get these type of answers. So you need to ask better questions. Before asking questions, you, of course, need to understand and specify which are the user you are thinking of or designing, creating something for. So first, who are the user of the system? It could be uniform or different category groups. So let's use the example of the transportation. I can say I want uniform, investigate everyone that travel to Politecnico. Which is everyone that travel to Politecnico? Students? Teachers? Students?
Technical staff.
Staff? Staff, various administrative, technical, cleaning service, the bar service, whatever, food service, whatever. And which are the categories we can think of? This one, but also this one. Let's go a little bit deeper. Students, which students? Bachelor, master, okay, a PhD. But engineering and architecture, computer engineer, mechanical engineer, we can split it up. Or we can say first year student. Just the one that just arrived at Politecnico, that are not familiar with the city, that are not familiar with the university, that will have their own challenge in moving around the university and moving to the university with respect to maybe you, that maybe some of you are here from like 5 years, so maybe you are more familiar with what's going on in the places and how to go somewhere, hopefully. So that's another way of, or students that don't do all the classes in one building, but they have some classes here, some classes in Mirafiori. That's another set of population. And you cannot, if you just have few people, you cannot put them together. You cannot ask him how he traveled to university and also ask someone that goes to the Castello and someone that moves to the two buildings and someone who's first year. And if you pick one, you will have a puzzle that you will not be able to build together because too many different perspectives. So understanding which are the main focus that you want to start with. And then you can enlarge, but start with the main focus. I want to understand how first year bachelor students in engineering go to the university for classes. Same topic as before, just a smaller population. And there will be the reasons to that. And this also covered the other question in this slide, young, old, in the sense of first year, fifth year, and also novice experience. Similarly, a professor is probably more experienced in navigating the place than a first year student. So also cross category, if you just look at the experience. So do not think of generic people like student, university student, because university students are also student from the university, from the Turin University, student from the University of Lisbon. That's a student. That's just a wide, also high school students are students, middle school students are students. It's just a big definition of students. So split it up and define well who are the user of the system or are the user of the topic you are interested in. You are not, let's make it clear, you are not. You are a terrible example of the user you are designed for because of the experience, of the knowledge, of the assumption you bring with you. So also for software system, designer and developer, skill, knowledge, attitude, background, interest are totally unlikely to those that you will build something for, except by a chance. That is, you are a student and you are investigating for students. You are a developer and you are building something for developers that do your same work. In that case, of course, you could be a representative user, but you still have to be very, very careful not to bring your own assumption to the table, but listen to the other's assumption, because otherwise you are bringing your idea, your needs, your wants, instead of the one that you are creating for. And if you work in a company, the client is absolutely not a representative user, so what the client wants is just useless. Useless. If you work for a company, say, but the client wants this, and the client never talk with actual people that you will use the software, that's just no information at all for you. It's just inventing something. And company doesn't like me saying this, but I will anyway, also to them. So always seek the actual user of the system, either for creating a system or for refining a system, upgrading a system, improving version 2 of the system. Whatever it is, talk with people in some way that we are going to see, which are these some way. Okay? How we can get to know the user? We can have to go with two big categories of things. One is talking to them, not just asking what do you want. And the other one is, like we did in the video, watching them do something. And there are a series of ways to talk with user. We will see some of them. And talking with user will help us understand the behavior, the pain points, the workaround they currently use in a situation that we want to improve, support in some way. Watching user will allow you to instead, well, see what's going on in the context, but also analyze what they do. If they use a piece of paper, if they use a tablet, what they do on a computer, what they operate a user interface, a software, that's something that they can only show you, and it's difficult that they will tell you with precision. So these two big categories, watching and talking, we will cover some of the way to actually effectively talk or observe them. The third way to know the user is something that happens more in the analysis phase, that is imagining users. So it's very difficult. You should have some kind of experience, of course, to build these things that are called personas. But this is something that happens, so personas are built in the analysis phase. So I understand which are the problem, I talk with people, and then we'll build an imaginary generic person that cover the traits of the people I've seen. But there will be cases in which the user are not available, like if you, I don't know, do something for astronauts, space exploration, that maybe it will be a little bit difficult to find and talk and observe, go on a mission on Mars to observe for 1 month what they are doing. That will be a little on the International Space Station. That will be a little bit difficult to do. So in this case, you will find something that is similar to those people, and then try to extract information from that. That, of course, is very difficult. Is better to be avoided when possible. So after the user, after understanding which are users, and we have the problem we were saying before, let's frame the problem. Let's find and frame the problem. So we need again to check out our and other people's assumption to fully understand the needs, the context, and emphasize with them. So let me show this example. So imagine that you identify your group of people in some context of your choice, and during the observation, talking with them, a person show you this. I said, this is something I do every day, something like this. So what you would say this is? It's a math operation, and whose, I don't know, answer is 8. Anything else?
Depends on the base. If it's base 8, it's not base 10.
Still math operation. Anything else? Is of course a tricky question, right? Because otherwise it would be too easy.
It's missing the answer.
Well, yes, it's missing the answer, but what is behind this? A math operation. Anyone that say that this is not a math operation? Okay, anyone that say that this is a math operation? Raise your hand. Okay, then we have always a little bit of people that doesn't take stance, but okay, that's your assumption. That's exactly your assumption. I never said that this is a math operation. Maybe these are, you think these are 4s, but maybe they're not. Maybe they are the top part of a boat. I never said this is a 4. Right? This could be two ships, and this could be something that happens between the 2 ships. That's another way to. I never said that it's a math operation, and it's not written here. This is a math operation, but this is a simple example to show you that you have assumptions, implicit assumption that you bring to the table, and this is an equal sign for all of you, but maybe there are 2 minus. This is 4 plus 4 minus minus. Who said that it's not like this? And maybe this is not a plus, is a concatenation symbol, so it's 44. So there are 2 strings, and we concatenate 2 strings. It's written nowhere that this is math operation in any basis. 2, 4, 8, 4 is not possible, not 2. 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever base you want. But all of you said, oh, this is a math operation. So this is a very simple, but very well example of an assumption that you bring with you, because you have knowledge, you have expertise, and when you see something like this, you say, oh, this is 4 plus 4, of course. Cannot be something else. But maybe it is something else. So if a person show you this, you first say, what is this? Don't assume that it is a math operation. Maybe they say, oh, this is a symbol meaning X, and this is another symbol meaning the same thing, and this is what we do to say that we need 2 of them. And then when it's done, we tick something here. You don't know how people do things, reason about things, etc. So even a simple case, check your assumptions. Always. Because this actually is taken from a person that I've seen a talk, and it was not a math. It was not used for a math operation. It was used for like other kind of things, and was draw like this. Also notice that I didn't draw like a 4 like a in another way, because that would be easier, but difficult. But this is designed like this, so not a 4 like this. It's likely to be more a 4 than not this. So simple example in which one of you said that this is a math operation, which is not. So again, when you're talking with people, when you're watching people, check all the assumptions, even the one that to you are just automatic math operations. Get the point? Good. So let's start to see one of the methods that we are going to talk about, need finding, and then we will talk about the other on Monday, and we'll also do an exercise on need finding on Monday. So we put in practice the things we said. So there are many methods written in these slides to do need finding. I will just present you 4 of them, skipping the grade one, that are observation, watching people, similar to what we did with the video, interviews, talking with people, surveys, talking with a lot of people, and contextual inquiry, that is a mix between talking with people and watching people. It's a combination of the two in a specific way to do. So let's start today with the observation. But before any of these methods, after identifying and found the users, according to what we said before, to observe, interview, whatever, you should always do these 4 steps when you conduct a need finding method. 1, introduce yourself and try to make the participant comfortable so that there is a good environment. 2, discuss confidentiality and get explicit consent for any filming or recording you may be doing. Maybe you're doing an interview and you are audio recording people. So you need them to say, I agree, as a good ethical practice, I agree to be recorded. I agree to be filmed. Or don't film me in the face, just on the back, and then you move the camera. But it should be explicit consent. Then begin to introduce a topic goal that you are interested in understanding, like I'm going to interview you to talk about transportation means to the university. The topic in this way, and then start with the actual need finding method. So observation. Observation is similar to what we have done with the video, even if it is bigger scale. So observation comes from ethnography. And the idea of observation is to be embedded in the user environment, culture, and behavior. So ethnographers do observation in a way that they move to live 1 month with some indigenous population somewhere in the world. And they stay with them for 1 month. So they are part of the community for 1 month and live like that. So that's one kind of observation, on one extreme, and then there are a large variety of shades of this kind of behavior. But it is still there. Obtain data to influence the design or the redesign of a system, an interactive system. And with observation, you can also learn the language of the user and their environment. So a doctor, as we were saying Monday, will talk differently from a child. So that language is important if you're creating an interface for a doctor. You can listen and observe. During observation, you typically audio, video record, and take notes. The risk of observation, there are these 3. One is misinterpret observation, typically due to your assumption or to your experience. The second is disrupting normal practice. Imagine going to look how doctors operate in the hospital. You, of course, are in the middle of them and you are an obstacle in some cases for their operation. So you are disrupting normal practice by your presence only. And then you can also overlook important information because there are a lot of things going on in an observation in a real environment context. What we can learn from observation. We learn what do people do now in the most ecologically valid way. We can learn what values and goals people have to do the activities you are going to observe, how these activities are embedded in the larger ecosystem they're operating. You can also learn similarity and difference across people doing the same job. A nurse in the morning could do a very different process or very similar process from a nurse in the evening or in the night. Maybe they need to administer the same medicine, but they will do things slightly different for the same patient. And also you get some unspoken knowledge, something that they will not tell you I'm doing this, but something that you can look at and say, oh, they are doing this, but they didn't tell me. And it's observation, means you go there and observe. Stay quiet, observe, take notes, record, like similar again as the video. Imagine to be in that room and recording the video. You were just observing the person, not interacting, not interfering. Is the simplest way. You're just there, listen, look, take notes, enjoy the environment. You can learn by observing also the difference between the process and the practice. Maybe the process is you do step A, then step B, then step C, but the practice is I do step A, then step C, and then step B. Because step B is a mess, and if I have to do it after, no consequence, and it works as well. So you observe the difference between the theory and the practice, including tricks like, oh, I should go there and click here, but I discovered that if I do these other things, I will do the same operation faster. Like we were saying the other day, find the information of the deadline for the next master degree discussion. If you look on Google or on the search bar, it's simpler, quicker than clicking the 100 clicks that are needed to reach that page, and doing a lot of mistakes in the process. So this is a workaround. That means that the 100 clicks are probably something to rethink, so that this is not 100, but it's 3. So that people doesn't have to have a workaround to reach the information in a faster way. And you'll learn this by observing people doing the activity that you are interested in. So there are a few types of observation. There are control observation, in which you don't go like to the hospital, you don't go to the indigenous population, you don't go to the gym, you don't go in the place, but you ask people to come here. So they are controlled because you control the environment. You control what's going on. So you want to explore how people do transportation, you can go on a tram with them to home, or you can ask them to come here and exemplify what they are doing. It's a less perfect observation, but still probably is better than nothing, especially in the context where you cannot go in the place. You maybe cannot stay 1 week in an hospital, in a surgery room in an hospital, but you can recreate a sort of surgical room somewhere and ask people to come there and simulate what they do. So this is easy to reproduce because everyone gets the exact same environment, exact same time, exact same everything. It's easy to analyze because you have full control on everything. It's quick because you don't have to move, you just ask people to come back. And have this orthoron effect, that is that the habit of observation of how someone does something change how they do something. It's like you do something and then I go on the back of you and look what you're doing. You will, of course, change something in what you're doing because you will be observed by someone on the shoulder that you don't know, that maybe you don't trust, that is not your friend, etc. So that's control observation. Then there is, on the other side, there is the naturalistic observation, that is you go to the place, you go to the hospital, you go to the tram, you go to the gym and observe what's going on. This is more reliable. This is way more reliable because you observe the real environment with other people, with other things. It's also way more useful for ideation because you don't recreate something according to your idea, but you just pick whatever you have in that environment. On the other side, it's difficult to include a representative sample because if you go to the hospital at 10 a.m. and want to see doctors, you see the doctors that are there, and there are 3 of them, you pick 3 of them. If there are 5, 5, whatever. So you are less control of who is going there. And to have a representative sample, you maybe need to go multiple times or stay longer. It's of course difficult to make it replicable because maybe one hospital, one gym is different from another hospital, another gym. So it's difficult to replicate exactly the situation and say, oh, this worked there, but didn't work here because of the context, because of the environment. And it's also hard to manipulate external variables, like the example here. If you observe someone working on a smartphone, using Google Maps on a smartphone for moving from one place to another, and that day you are doing the observation is raining, like 2 days ago, the behavior will be extremely different from when it's sunny, for instance. Or if the person is in a rush because needs to go to the class and move, or when, well, it's Sunday, I have all the time that I want, and so the behavior is different. Or there is a strike, or there is not. So different behavior. That's of course, you cannot control the weather, you cannot control how people are in a rush, you cannot control strikes. So these are not things you can control, but you can compensate and think of. So these are the two extremes. And then there is two ways of be an observer in the extreme, and then something in the middle, of course. There is the complete observer, where you are part of the wall. I want to observe a lesson in the university, and so I go there in the end of the room, stay there silent on a desk and look. So a complete observer. I don't reply to answer, I don't say anything, I don't speak with a person close to me. I don't just there. Like I was not there, but I am. So you avoid everything, you just stay there and look. The other side is become one of them. It's the complete participant. Like I want to observe teachers, and so I'm becoming a teacher. I'm training as a teacher. I work like a teacher would work for 1 day, or for a doctor, or a nurse. So I get all the official information, I got everything, I observe all the practice, but I am part of people, so I can talk with them, I will likely influence more what they're doing, etc. And in the middle, there is of course something that is, okay, maybe I'm observing a little bit in this part, and then I'm participating a little bit more in this other moment, etc. So it's a matter of balancing according to the opportunity, according to the cost, not only economic cost, but also time, people, availability, your availability, etc. And you can mix and blend these two opposite directions. Data collection in observation is of two kinds, the subjective and objective. This subjective data collection is impression. It seems to me that they are not happy. Ranking ratings by users, if I end up to ask questions after the observation. I can have a summary report that is written, but it's about subjective things I perceive, and artifacts, things that people use. Oh, they use these things, they show me this graph, they show me this plan, I can take a picture. They have something in the wall with the name of the people that they need to do something with a time. Oh, this is interesting, that's an artifact, I will take a picture of it. The objective things you can collect are the anecdote. Oh, I do this because it's easier, I'll show you. You can observe incident, errors, and workaround. These are objective things you can observe. If there is an error, if there is something that doesn't work, this is just objective thing, it's not working, it's objective. It took me 100 click, is objective, it's 100 click. It's not a subjective representation of something. Okay? So this is observation. We will continue with interview on Monday. So observation means, again, just to summarize, going somewhere or having someone coming to you and just observe and ask some question of what you observe. Of course, you need to identify as we said before, who are the people you're observing and which are the activities you're observing, not just let's go and live 1 month in an indigenous population in Africa. That's also observation, but not the kind of observation we are going to do in the course. Okay? So let's have a 50 minutes break, and then after the break we will talk about project, topics, etc. And we'll continue with this on Monday.